JD. What you up to, sugar? Long time no talk to.
On KNBR 104.5 and 680. Streaming live at KNBR.com and on the KNBR app.
Ends up going as the 22nd turnover of the night. They committed 10 last night, but 22 turnovers tonight. No reason for Minnesota to shoot it. And the season low 90 points. Not getting it done. So the Warriors do get a day off. I'll see these very same T-Wolves Sunday at 5:30. But you're catching Minnesota at a bad time. They've won 4 in a row. The Warriors, after winning last night, will take their 9th loss of the season, be 6-4 at home after this.
All right, Warriors lose 107-90. We welcome you in to Dubs OT with JD here on KNBR, the sports leader. 808 KNBR is the number, 415-808-5627 to give me a call or shoot me a text here. Appreciate everybody filing in on YouTube and Twitch as well as we come to you, as always, when the Warriors are home from Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City. So cheers to Kyle Haar and Jacob Violante in our San Francisco studios as I take a quick sip of my Kolsch with Alex and Mike at the controls out here at Harmonic Brewing. Warriors losers now of 6 of the last 7, and this team's got some issues because there's also some injury notes coming out of this game tonight. But let's react to this one. Warriors had a feel-good win last night against the Rockets, a breakout career-type game for Jonathan Kuminga, and unable to back it up against a better team with a worse record was kind of how I looked at this one coming in. The Timberwolves not playing as well in the early part of the season as the Rockets, but when it's all said and done, I don't think anybody would dispute the fact that the Timberwolves are a better team and clear-cut a more difficult matchup for the Warriors by comparison. Minnesota's had the Dubs number. They got a lot of long and athletic wings. They've got some size on the interior that's been problematic for the Warriors, and they are a team that can make you really struggle to score the basketball. And the story of this one for the Warriors was scoring droughts. They get Steph Curry and Draymond Green back. They lose Andrew Wiggins in the early part of the third quarter, and Jonathan Kuminga was ordinary as opposed to spectacular. And the Warriors just not enough scoring in this one after really an open and free-flowing first quarter. 31-31, the score at the end of the first quarter. And it started off like it might be similar to last night. Jonathan Kuminga hit a corner 3 on the first possession. Wiggins hit a couple of jumpers, including a 3. Podziemski hit a 3. Draymond coming off the bench. The selfless Draymond saying, hey, I'll come off the bench and allow Jonathan Kuminga to continue to start and have Kevon Looney play at the 5 with Steph Curry and Brandon Podziemski and Andrew Wiggins. And it looked like everything was clicking. Entertaining first quarter in this one at Chase. And it was tied at 31 with Draymond Green, of all people, leading the Warriors in scoring at the end of the quarter with 8 points off the bench, playing basically the final 6 minutes. Very even first quarter at that. Warriors 11-23, 5 of 11 from 3. The Timberwolves were 11-22, 4 of 11 from 3, but hit an extra free throw. It all added up to 31-31. Timberwolves, though, took control of this game for the first of really 3 different times in the game. The start of the second quarter lineup not clicking. It was Curry and Buddy Hield. Steph Curry back to the old John Stockton rotation where he gets subbed out mid-first quarter and then back in basically at the beginning of the second quarter. It was Curry, Hield, Payton, Kuminga, and Looney, and that group did not click. 10-2 Timberwolves to start the quarter. It wound up being a 23-4 run. The Warriors had 4 points really up until the final 3-4 minutes of the half, and Minnesota able to build a big-time lead. Second quarter, just poor shooting, too many turnovers, not clicking, and the Timberwolves out to a 54-35 lead. The Warriors did have a late second quarter run, 11-2 pull to get to within 10 at the half, but overall, second quarter, a 25-15 Minnesota advantage. due to the 23-4 run to start the quarter, and the Timberwolves were up 10 at that point at halftime. Third quarter, Warriors got it going, and Steph Curry got it going in the third quarter. You look up at halftime, and Stephen Curry in the game only had 7 in the first half. He had 6 quick ones in the third quarter. Jonathan Kuminga only had 7 in the first half. Kuminga started to get it going in the third quarter, but the Warriors also lost Andrew Wiggins in that third quarter. Came up limping, right ankle impingement, which he's been dealing with here for the last week and a half or so. And he went right to the locker room. And at that point, you knew the Warriors were really in trouble because Andrew Wiggins, we've talked on nights where Andrew Wiggins is playing and Jonathan Kuminga is playing well and Steph Curry's doing his thing. Does this Warriors team have enough offense against any team, let alone when they're clicking a locked-in, excellent defensive team in the Minnesota Timberwolves? And I thought it was going to be a real tall order once Wiggins went out. Moses Moody also got ruled out with some left knee soreness, and the Timberwolves reestablished control at that point. But yeah, Curry and Kuminga were aggressive and getting it going in the third quarter, and the Warriors had pulled it to within 3, but then the Timberwolves immediately push it back up to 73-63, taking control of the game as Curry and Kuminga were both subbed out middle of the quarter. They had 12 of the Warriors' 17 points in the first 6 minutes of the quarter, and Kerr pulled them out in what was the normal rotation for tonight. And there were back-to-back turnovers and a missed 3 and another scoring drought. So the scoring drought in the second quarter does the Warriors in. The scoring drought in the third quarter does the Warriors in. And the Warriors just unable, even though they kept making runs in this game, unable. Hey, what's going on, man? Appreciate you. Yeah, appreciate everybody stopping by and saying hi, as always, at Harmonic Brewing. And the Warriors ended up winning the quarter with another little late push. Curry hit that 3 off of the Conley offensive foul. And the Warriors were only down 6 going to the fourth quarter. They won the quarter despite some push and pull in the quarter. But the Warriors find themselves, hey, what's going on, guys? 78-72 going to the fourth. And it was another long drought in that fourth quarter after the Warriors again pulled to within 3 at 80-77. What's going on, my man? Come on over. No, you come on over. Come on over. Say hi. Say what's up. Watch the beer. Hey, what's going on? Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we got Danny in Vancouver checking it. Come on over. What's your name, man? What? One more time?
My name is Devontae.
Okay, Devontae. Just okay. Just real quick. Devontae, just real quick. Just come on over. Say what's up. Devontae stopping by saying hi. He says he's got to use the restroom, but no, we appreciate you, man. That's it. I just want to give you a little camera time. Thank you for stopping by. Anytime on Dubs OT, we appreciate you stopping by. Thanks, man. Yeah, just thank you so much, man. We appreciate it. We love when the people stop by and get on the camera and get on the show and all that. So yeah, Devontae, nice meeting you, brother. Appreciate you, my man. If you want to go up, we have a rule here on Dubs OT after the game. If you want to get a beer, it's on the JD tab.
Oh,
so use the restroom and let Mike or Alex know that I'm buying for you, my friend. So appreciate you.
Oh no way, we're live.
We're live. Just don't swear. Just don't swear.
Okay.
And we got some calls to get to too. Live right now, yeah. Go figure. I want to get everybody in. I want to get everybody in. Who? You guys want to see? You guys want to? Hey, just easy with them. Just can't. Easy. Hey, what's your name? Tang. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Randy, nice to meet you. Come on over, say hi. Yep, nice to meet you. Dubs OT. Anybody? Yeah. Stop by, say hi. These are the rules. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We definitely do. We definitely do. Follow this guy. No. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Appreciate you guys. Okay, real quick, and I got to get back to the rest of the show. But no, I appreciate you, man.
What's your name?
I'm John. Yeah, I'm JD. You're Devontae. Yeah.
I'm Devontae.
Yes.
I'm with Dubs.
Yeah. That's it. That's me. Thanks, brother. Appreciate you, man. And yeah, stop by. See Mike or Alex up there. Appreciate you, my man. 808 KNBR is the number. Let's get it going on the phone lines. Adam in San Jose here on the Sports Leader, our tip-off caller of the night. Wow. It's been getting crazy here at Harmonic Brewing early on in the show. A lot of people leaving the game and coming by. That might be the wildest open of the show this year. But, yeah, Devontae's having a good time, and we got a good group of KNBR heads here to my left as well at the bar. So let's get to the phones. Adam, save me. It's San Jose here on the Sports Leader.
What's up, JD? How you doing?
I'm good, man. What's on your mind tonight?
All right, so Steph, 6 of 17 from the field. With him, it just seems like it's one step forward, 2 steps backward. Anytime he misses any amount of time, it takes him multiple days to get back into the rhythm. And then once he's in the rhythm, he seems to get injured again and then go right back out. I know I apologized to Kuminga yesterday after I bashed him the night before, but I still stand on what I believe. And I've always said he's got to be a consistent player in order to gain my respect and believe that we should extend him and keep him here in the Bay. And then my next thought is Buddy Hield. We can now see why Buddy Hield has jumped around the league from team to team almost every offseason. He fooled us at the start of the season thinking that we won that Klay Thompson trade and that we were all jumping up and down, that thank God we got someone even better than Klay. I think this team is absolutely cooked without a second option. Teams are really starting to plan against Steph Curry to really get him out of the game, make him irrelevant because they know that there's no one else to back up the scoring. And then, honestly, I wouldn't even give Minnesota credit with stellar defense. They did not play all that good defense tonight. We just weren't making shots. Guys were smoking layups. Guys were missing from the three-point line. No one else can shoot from the mid-range. Everyone just wants to jack up threes and miss them. Those are my thoughts tonight.
Yeah, thank you, Adam. A lot to chew on, and Adam's line open at 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. Look, it was back to a lot of what we've seen from Jonathan Kuminga throughout the course of this season tonight, going up against a more formidable team. Look, he's got something on Houston, clearly. We talked about it. It's 2 games where he's dominated Houston really throughout the game, but down the stretch. And I think tonight was a night where Kuminga showed up on the Timberwolves scouting report, and they've got more big, physical, capable defenders. And so, I also, to think that Kuminga was going to come out and dominate and play like that, it's a different ballgame when Steph Curry's back. And I think that goes to the conversation that we had a little bit last night, and we can maybe have now as an extension of the last 2 nights as we have the full picture. It's much more difficult for Kuminga to operate in the manner that he operated when Stephen Curry and Draymond Green are out there, and the Warriors are basically trying to play a completely different style offensively. Now, they did try to get Kuminga involved, that said, early in the game, and he, they were going to him early in the game. Steph Curry didn't take a shot in the first 6-minute stretch that he was out there tonight, because I think there was a little deference to trying to make sure Kuminga and to a lesser extent Wiggins could do continue what they did last night. Teams are really keying on Curry. And I thought tonight Minnesota keyed on Kuminga, especially when Wiggins went out in the second half. And tonight Kuminga just didn't look as confident. He did make that first 3, but some of the driving lanes were closed up. Again, they just have sturdier defenders, and they have Gobert waiting at the rim. And I think that makes you a little bit less confident that you're going to get all the way to the cup. He did hit a couple of pull-ups, but it just was not the same Kuminga. That's okay. Again, especially when he becomes the number 2 option, as he did when Wiggins went out, it's a lot to put on his plate. When Wiggins went out, you just thought it was going to be tough immediately to believe that the Warriors could find enough scoring to be able to close this game out. Buddy Hield has been bad for the last month. Like, let's just call it reality. I mean, and people joke about the Buddy Hield cycle, and our buddy Greg Silver, when he's with us, jokes about the Buddy Hield cycle. Buddy Hield got off to a great start and was the leading scorer for the Warriors in 5 of their first 6 games. And really, since then, he's had a handful And I mean, like, count them on half of one hand, games where he's been supremely impactful and effective. And teams are they're closing out on him. They're trying to make him drive. They're trying to make him play make, which can turn into turnovers. I thought Kuminga tonight, turnovers were a big issue for him as well. I mean, team-wide, you look at the turnovers, 21 total turnovers for the Warriors in this one. Who had the turnovers? Tonight it was Curry with 3. It was Kuminga with 3. It was Buddy Hield with 3. Those were the leaders in terms of turnovers. Draymond Green, 2. Everybody really had a turnover, though, that played except for Kevon Looney and Kyle Anderson. Every single guy. And with Wiggins out and Podziemski struggling to make shots, Steve Kerr had to pick between Buddy Hield and Lindy Waters III. And Lindy Waters III was not great either, and it was kind of the lesser of two evils. How much Lindy Waters III are you going to get? And when do you go back to Buddy Hield? And neither truly was an option at a level quality enough for the Warriors to be competitive down the stretch in this game. Fourth quarter ultimately does the Warriors in. 29-18 in the fourth, 107-90 the final, and the Timberwolves controlled the game for the most part. Even though the Warriors got close on 2 different occasions, Minnesota controlled the game from the early part of the second quarter. And while the Warriors were in it, you never really felt like Golden State was going to have enough to finish this game off. So 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. That is the number to give me a call or shoot me a text here. The Golden State Lumber and Building Materials text line is open. We'll get to some text messages coming up, but we'll take a quick timeout. We'll get into the YouTube chat as people continue to file in here. It's Dubs OT with JD on a Friday night from Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City. Cheers to everybody. We got a full house here at Harmonic. We got Kyle Haar in our San Francisco studios and Dubs OT here on the Sports Leader.
Hoops Heads, Dubs OT with John Dickinson keeps balling. Streaming live at twitch.tv/thesportsleader.
Reed up top. Lindy Waters will take a turn. Edwards will just rise for that three and be fouled for an opportunity for a 4-point play. And he's talking crazy to people.
Got it. All right, welcome back. John Dickinson here. Dubs OT with JD. Thanks, Devontae. I got you, my man. 808 KNBR is the number. 415-808-5627. We got our guy Devontae here on KNBR out at Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City. Cheers to him. Cheers to everybody. Warriors lose this one 107-90 as they have now lost 6 of the last 7, and we continue to learn more and more about this team. Also, the injuries tonight. The Warriors lose Andrew Wiggins. And I hate to say it, and we'll get an update from Steve Kerr in his post-game press conference in Chase Center, in the Bill King interview room over at Chase Center. But I got to think Wiggins, who's been playing through this ankle impingement for the last week or so, I got to think the Warriors are probably going to be without Wiggins for at least a short period of time, if not a little bit longer. And that's only going to make things more difficult for the Warriors here as they try to right the ship. If he's going to right the ship as far as the 6 of the last 7 and all of that. So let's get to the YouTube chat here as well, and we will have sounds of Dubs OT coming up between now and 11 o'clock here as the Warriors lose to the Timberwolves. Let's start to the Rebel to Sounds in the YouTube chat here. And again, this goes with respect to what do the Warriors do as they look at things on a nightly basis, and then the big picture as far as do you look to make some kind of a trade and time to package pods, Buddy Hield, TJD, and Lindy Waters, says Rebel to Sounds. Look, we're going to hear from Shams of ESPN, who said today that the Warriors were looking to hunt for a star again. Although, if you actually listen to the audio, cheers, my friend. Thank you, brother. It was more of a Jonathan Kuminga, cape for Jonathan Kuminga when you actually listen to the audio. Warriors are hunting for a star, but could they have one already? Jonathan Kuminga scored 33 in the last game. It was Kuminga and his camp, I think, have the old speed dial, like Insta-text to Shams. Like anytime anything's going on with them, they hit Shams up to kind of cape for their guy, which I think is interesting. It was sort of set up as a means to, hey, the Warriors are going big game hunting, but also might believe that they have that guy already. But as far as looking to package guys, I think the time for patience is getting shorter with every single loss. That I will say, as the Warriors lose their 6th here in the last 7. Rebel to Sounds also adding, when the Warriors cut the lead to 3 at 80-77, the poor decision-making kicked in. Yeah, that's also when Anthony Edwards kicked in and really took the game over at that point. He drove on Kuminga and set up a Conley 3 from the corner, and then he had the 4-point play on Lindy Waters, and the 3-point game was a 10-point game just like that. Boom, boom, 3-point game, 10-point game, and the Warriors were on the ropes at that point and never really could get enough stops. Some rough Lindy Waters minutes. Kerr went back to Curry with about 6:43 to go. Draymond got blocked at the rim into a Nickeil Alexander-Walker 3. Edwards hit a pull-up. It was a 15-point game. It would end up a 21-point game, and the Warriors ultimately lose this thing by that final of 107-90. So 808 KNBR, 415-808 KNBR, as we get to Don in San Francisco next here on Dubs OT here on a Friday night. Hey, Don.
How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. What's on your mind?
On my mind is like, I don't know what the Warriors, when they started off good. And I think it started off when they lost by San Antonio. They had leads. They couldn't put them away. We had a bad time here in the Bay Area with the 49ers had leads. They couldn't hold them. They couldn't finish off the fourth quarters just like the 49ers, Hello?
Thanks, Don. Yeah, I got Don. You there? I thought I lost you there for a second. You there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. You hear me?
I got you loud and clear, Don. Was there more that you had to say?
Yeah, I just told you that's just like they cannot finish the fourth quarter. It's just like the 49ers couldn't finish the fourth quarter. We had, just couldn't. I just hope they can get back into it, the Warriors,
Well, this whole thing started with the blown leads in San Antonio, and then at home against Brooklyn. And then they played the game without Steph Curry against OKC, where they were competitive but couldn't finish that game. You go to Phoenix, and the Suns are just in a better place at this point and are really tough to beat, especially down there when Kevin Durant is playing, and Durant and Booker were both playing in that game. You go to Denver and should have won that game but can't hold the 11-point lead in the fourth quarter and the 6-point lead in the final 2 minutes. You lose that one. And then tonight, it's more of, I think the Timberwolves are a better team, and now the Warriors are even a little bit more banged up than they've been, and they just don't have enough offense in fourth quarters. It wasn't a blown lead tonight, Don, but in many ways it was the same issue that they've had in a lot of these games where they have blown leads. The offense just goes stagnant. Not enough scorers, not enough playmakers. Teams take Stephen Curry away, and there's just nowhere for the Warriors to go elsewhere to get buckets. They had the great Kuminga game last night down the stretch. As we talked about in the first segment, he's got a little something on Houston, clearly, because he's done it to him twice in 2 games this season. But that was not prevalent in the game tonight or in some of these other games. So it becomes a question. And, yeah, you related it to the Niners, and the Niners have had their own troubles blowing leads. And it's been a rough couple of weeks for both the 49ers and the Warriors. If you go back to the 17th, it's basically 2 wins since the 17th of November for both the Warriors and the 49ers. I guess it's 3 if you count last night, but that's not good over basically a 3.5 week span. Don, thank you for the call. Really appreciate it here on this Friday night. 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. Dubs OT with JD here at Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City on a Friday night, as the Warriors have now dropped 6 of 7. And I think the question is, when is the time for the Warriors to ramp up the potential to look to make a move? And I think, Kyle, this is a good time. We don't even have to save it for our sound segment. Let's go ahead and play the Shams cut from earlier on ESPN, as in the aftermath of Jonathan Kuminga's big game last night. He was on this afternoon and kind of addressed the situation with the Warriors as it stands right now, even coming off of the win last night.
What exactly are the Warriors looking for when we sort of hear they may be in the market to make a move?
Malik, I'm told that the Warriors are on the real hunt for a star, a playmaker, scorer alongside Stephen Curry. And you think back to the summer when they pursued Lauri Markkanen with the Utah Jazz. They made a pitch for Paul George as a free agent with the Clippers. And the debate with the Warriors and teams that look into that situation is, for them, are they going to find that externally outside of this roster currently, or will it be in-house with a player like Jonathan Kuminga? And last night, you look at it, 33 points, the first time he plays 30 minutes in a game all season. He's shown with his output that as his role elevates, so do his stats at different points. And that relationship between Jonathan Kuminga and Steve Kerr, something that Warriors officials have been monitoring over the last year or so, and how he fits in when Stephen Curry and Draymond Green are back in the lineup will be interesting to monitor. But the Warriors' future will be shaped over the next few weeks and the next couple months before the trade deadline. How can they get that next championship with Stephen Curry and Draymond Green?
Yeah, and look, it was part, hey, the Warriors are still looking for that second star. It was part, hey, could Jonathan Kuminga be that second star? We'll table the back end part of it there. because I think the urgency probably should be growing for the Warriors as they look at trying to better this team. They get off to the 12-3 start. You look up now, they're 13-9, and it's 6 of 7 in the loss column. And I think the other thing that really lessens the ability to be patient is the fact that this Andrew Wiggins injury now pops up. And so what do the Warriors do there as far as trying to improve this roster and also, I think, whittle down some of the depth? So what do you make of what Shams had to say? 808 KNBR, we can react to that as well. I know Mike Dunleavy has said at his season opening press conference that the Warriors are trying to be – they like the team that they have, but they're also impatient. And so you also don't want to be in a spot where you make a move just to make a move, or you make a move that can reek of desperation. But the Warriors right now, even if they don't want to make a move out of desperation, are, I think, in danger of completely wasting their 12-3 start. They're right back where they were before the game last night at 4 over, and half of this beginning to the season has gone by the wayside. So looking for a star, what kind of star is out there to be had, and what would you be looking to give up? Some of the teams in shambles at the beginning of the year, like Milwaukee and Philadelphia, have figured things out a little bit. Although, again, I think when you look at the standings overall, I mean, Milwaukee's they got themselves right in the in-season tournament to a certain extent. But you look up and, yeah, Milwaukee 11-11 after a pretty brutal start. Philadelphia is starting to climb after their horrid start, but still 6-15. Is there something to be had there for the Warriors? I think that's the question that you would have to look at. And then you look at some of the teams in the Western Conference. Really, it's the teams that you would have expected to be disappointments that have been disappointments, and the Pelicans, who sit at 5-18, and they're starting to get a little bit healthier. But again, what could you realistically get off the Pelicans roster other than Brandon Ingram, as those two sides attempt to come to some kind of an agreement on a contract extension or some semblance of a trade? So 808 KNBR, if you want to jump in and join the conversation on that, we can do that as well. If you want to share your thoughts on this one, too many scoring droughts for the Warriors in this game tonight. It was a Curry plus-minus game, really, until the final stretch. The Warriors were significantly better with Curry on the court as opposed to when Curry wasn't. But the takeover down the stretch of Anthony Edwards and in that fourth quarter kind of wrecked any of that advantage, and I don't think anybody for the Warriors ended up being a plus for the game. Yeah, Kyle Anderson was the only Warriors player for the game that ended up being a net even in terms of the plus-minus. Kuminga ended up -7, Looney -11, Podziemski -16, Ruff, Podziemski, Draymond, and Gary Payton II minutes in this one, as they were among the Warriors with the worst plus-minus in this game. Wiggins' injury could be a big loss. We'll hear from Steve Kerr on the latest as he's been dealing with that ankle. Moses Moody also was ruled out at halftime, and the bad beginning of the second quarter is what doomed the Warriors, along with that stretch in the middle of the third quarter when Steve Kerr went away from Stephen Curry and Jonathan Kuminga, despite the fact that Stephen Curry and Jonathan Kuminga were the two players who were starting to get cooking a little bit for the Warriors. And then what does bringing Draymond Green off the bench mean in terms of the Warriors' rotation as they continue? That's all right. You're probably okay. These guys are just hollering obscenities at me. So Kyle, if you gotta not at me, but they're having a colorful conversation. Appreciate it. So yeah, Kyle, if you hear maybe a 4-letter bomb in the background and have to hit the dump button, This mic is pretty good at not picking up too much. And the ancillary, Kyle, the headset here.
I haven't heard much yet.
But yeah, these guys were having a colorful conversation to my left here. They love KNBR though, with a few F's and S's and other letters.
That's passion.
A lot of passion here. We love the passion on Dubs OT. We love a full house at Harmonic Brewing on a Friday night. I mean, it is jam-packed, and people are having a good time here, even on what was a rough night for the Warriors as they lose to the Minnesota Timberwolves, 107-90. So Golden State now 13-9, 6-4 at home. The 6-4 at home's got to be better. They got off to a really good start on the home court, and now you look up here of late, and the Warriors losing more at home than you would like. Losing the game tonight, losing the game the night before Thanksgiving, the game against Brooklyn. Too many home losses for the Warriors recently. And, of course, the home opener against the Clippers went in the loss column as well. And what do you think of Steve Kerr continuing to look to have Draymond Green come off the bench? That's a little bit of a surprise. I think on the one hand, it's a means to potentially manage Draymond's minutes. On the other hand, it's a way to get Kuminga into the action. And here's the problem. For Jonathan Kuminga to be effective, he's got to play the 4. And Draymond Green is who the Warriors would prefer to be their starting 4. So if Kuminga's going to play the 4, then Draymond's either got to play the 5 or somebody's got to come off the bench. And so it sounds for the time being as if they feel the best way to get Kuminga going and having the successes that he had in the game, last night, is to play him at the 4 and start him at the 4 and try to play him a little bit with Steph Curry. And he seems to like Kevon Looney and Kuminga playing together as a two-person group. And so that will be something moving forward that is twofold but I don't know that I love it, but it also has the ability for Draymond to still be able to play with another big next to him. But it also means that probably Draymond's going to be subbing in for Kuminga, and Kuminga's going to play the first 6 minutes and then come back at the beginning of the second quarter as he did the last couple of nights and as he did in this game tonight. So 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. Appreciate everybody watching on YouTube and Twitch as well. More from the YouTube chat. Alpha, wow, JD, just too many turnovers, not enough threes made. Also think we have to start acknowledging Steph is probably a number 2 at this point of his career. I don't agree with the last part. I don't think Steph is a number 2 at this point of his career. But the Warriors have to find a number 2 in pretty short order to play next to Steph Curry to take some of the pressure off, because rapidly, with the knee issues popping up and with an inconsistent second option popping up, Steph Curry, the opposition defensively is really starting to make him work in a big time way. A couple from Robert here in the YouTube chat early on. The game yesterday looks like another blip on the radar. The nosedive continues. Like I said before, by the time they decide on a trade, it may not matter much. With Wiggins' track record, he'll miss a week or 2. You can bookmark that now. Yeah, I would imagine it's probably going to be about a week for Andrew Wiggins, but we'll hear what Steve Kerr had to say about the ankle impingement. No Cap 757. Wolves are not the Rockets, I told you. Yeah, the Wolves are better than the Rockets. Like, I don't disagree. Better team, worse record. And that I do think is fair to acknowledge. The Timberwolves just have a lot of they have size, they have legitimate length, they have a lot of grown-ups, even as very young players, in McDaniels, in Anthony Edwards. Like, they just kind of come at you in waves in terms of players with length and girth and size. Julius Randle is somebody that can do that. Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Naz Reid and Nickeil Alexander-Walker, they've got bigs that can shoot, bigs that can cover the perimeter. I mean, Anthony Edwards was awesome tonight, plus 23. Gobert, awesome. Naz Reid, awesome. Basically, Gobert and Naz Reid, plus 20, plus 19. Hey, and you look up at Nickeil Alexander-Walker, one of the wings in this one, and he ended up plus 16. All told, too many scoring droughts for the Warriors, and they end up losing this one 107-90. Joe Schmo, appreciate you. Goo Goo Gaga, Draymond doesn't look like he's all there. I mean, he was scoring the ball early, but the size, we've seen Draymond, Mad Dog, Gobert over the years. He looked overpowered tonight by Gobert, by Naz Reid, by the size and strength and a lot of those things. Andis Brown, I'm trying to remember the last time Ant dunked the ball. Seems like he just hunts jump shots and threes. He'll not tonight, but he'll get after it. He'll get after it and look to attack the rim. But I think he knows it's less taxing on the body if you can hit jumpers. And yeah, he was really hunting jumpers tonight, hunting matchups tonight. That stretch that put the game away really was, I think, some of the best of Anthony Edwards that you could see. Estimated eyes, 22 turnovers. Need I say more? Warriors are stagnant, and they needed to break out of the stagnation, and no, they have not broken out of the stagnation. Frankie G, what about the Splash Buddies? LMAO. Yeah, the Splash Buddies have not been a thing really since the Boston game, which was like a month ago now. I mean, that was literally a month ago tonight on November the 6th when the Warriors won in Boston. And, yeah, Buddy has not been great. Lance Malone, Buddy on the bench lately. Yeah, he's been on the bench because he's been the lesser of a couple of different evils at that two-guard spot. Since DeAnthony Melton has gone down, the Warriors have really struggled to find somebody to be able to play that two-guard spot. Rebel to Sounds and Lance Malone. What's up, JD? Goo Goo Gaga. Cheers to you here on KNBR from Harmonic. Let's see. What else do we have here? Estimated eyes. I prefer Anthony Edwards driving to the basket. Rebel to Sounds. Lindy Waters only had one good game this season. Yeah, he helped them win that game against the Pelicans, that first game that Steph Curry was out after the foot and the ankle in the home opener. But GZ Money, Peyton, and Pod should never be on the floor at the same time. It's no wonder Steph struggles when three defenders can focus on him. Yeah, there were, I think, in part because of the Wiggins injury, some really rough stretches where the Warriors had some tough lineups out there. But Podziemski at this point, I think, is the best option the Warriors have at the two, which is kind of scary and indicative of how bad Buddy Hield and Lindy Waters, the third, have been of late. And they've lost Melton. And I think tonight would have been a Moses Moody night. But Moses Moody ends up out of the game due to injury. And that winds up, being on a night where Steve Kerr, I think, would have loved to have been able to go to him. I think he didn't have him or the ability. Andis Brown, what I think an astute point as well. You can tell Steph is not 100% healthy. Knee was bothering him. Can see a slight limp throughout the game. This will probably be an issue all season. Andis, you're right. It is, I think, going to be a issue all season unless the Warriors give him a significant break. And I just don't think the Warriors can afford to give him a significant break. They're trying to manage it. No back-to-backs for the time being. Maybe give him one game off that leads to 4 or 5 days off consecutively and hope that it can kind of clear up on its own. And I think you definitely can see that Steph Curry is less than 100%. Ebe here and estimated eyes. Yeah, Draymond as well. Regulator. Thanks, guys. Our group from the left of me here at Harmonic. Calling it a night, heading out to the patio. So we appreciate all of those guys. Regulator, Warriors have two shooters that teams have to respect. Yeah, it's basically Steph Curry and Buddy Hield at this point, and Buddy Hield hasn't been making a lot of shots. Ebe here, it's great. JK is getting his minutes. now he's not making the same mistakes. He's making brand new mistakes. He had a couple of the worst passes you will see in the first half. I mean, back-to-back, just lazy, soft, cross-court, not enough on him passes. And those were 2 of the 3 turnovers for him in this game. He was more indecisive tonight, I think, in everything he was doing, but he was also a little lax in how he was playing as well. And that led to some of the struggles for Jonathan Kuminga in this one. Disco Inferno chiming in on Trace Jackson Davis. Yeah, Trace Jackson Davis is struggling to finish, and he looks like he's lost some confidence. And really, in the big, grander scheme of things, another big takeaway is the regression to a certain extent of both TJD after a decent start to the year in the starting lineup and Brandon Pajemski. The sophomore slump for both of those guys is real. To a greater degree, TJD, and Pajemski, as Steve Kerr said pregame, and we'll play that for you coming up on Sounds of Dubs OT. Pajemski's just going to play regardless. And I know Warrior fans are not going to love that, but we shall see as things progress here as to whether Steve Kerr is going to stick with that. I think he's going to have to attempt to stick with it as the Warriors look to find a way to stop the bleeding right now. Find a way to stop the bleeding. 808 KNBR. 808 KNBR is the number. 415-808-5627. To the point of the chat where our buddy Devontae was coming by. Devontae was having a good time tonight. There's no question. Devontae, some shout-outs for Devontae. Andis Brown, JD, man of the people, always Andis. And you stop by too, my friend. You stop by and hopefully you're in a good place. And you can stop by, have a brew. Devontae took advantage of the JD brew. We appreciate you. Nick Pa, appreciate you. Appreciate you for shouting out. Nobody cares. Yeah, people do care, actually. It's called making people feel a part of the show. And I appreciate you 2 nights in a row for watching and listening. We can take 90 seconds to 2 minutes to bring some people over and shout them out and make sure everybody's having a good time. Like that's how we roll. That's how we roll, Nick Pa. And, you get 97% basketball. Really more like 99% basketball, but I appreciate it. Robert J.D. gone Hollywood. No. Usually it's the nights Greg Silver's here that everybody really wants to stop by. I'm actually kind of flattered that people wanted to stop by and say what's up. But no, we do, and in fairness, Nick Pa, we do want to keep it to basketball as much as we possibly can. That is a realistic point. Warriors lose this one 107-90. 808 KNBR. Still some time to sneak in a couple of more calls. Golden State Lumber and Building Materials text line. We got a handful of people to chime in there. We'll get to those coming up next. More from the YouTube chat. And we've got Sounds of Dubs OT coming up as well as we continue. Festive atmosphere at Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City. Not a great night for the Warriors as they lose 107-90. It's KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
This is KNBR, and this is Dubs OT with John Dickinson, streaming live on YouTube at KNBR 1045.
You have the full hockey substitution at the next stoppage. Probably a wise idea. This one is over. Gobert is having fun.
Yeah, Timberwolves having fun down the stretch as they outscore the Warriors in the fourth quarter, 29-18. They put the game away. A lot of Edwards, a lot of Rudy Gobert. Everybody in double figures among the starters for the Timberwolves. 107-90 the final. Warriors lose the game. They also lose Andrew Wiggins, who left early in the third quarter, and Moses Moody ruled out early in the third quarter as well. The ankle impingement that Andrew Wiggins has been playing with, that hampers Wiggins to where he headed to the locker room early in that third quarter. Moses Moody, left knee soreness, kept him out for the second half in this one. And so the Warriors going to have to try and lick their wounds here over the next 24 to 40 hours or so when they'll be back at it on Sunday for the 5:30 tip against the Timberwolves in the rematch, as the Timberwolves for a second straight year have the baseball 2-game series where they stay over in the Bay, can have a little night out tonight if they want, have a practice tomorrow if they so choose, and then play again on Sunday at 5:30 at Chase Center. So 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. More from the YouTube chat coming up here in just a moment. I do want to get to a couple of text messages here on the Golden State Lumber and Building Materials text line, and loading up the text line. 925, give Draymond's minutes, give Kuminga Draymond's minutes at the 4. Steph, another with Wiggs and a big man. That'll open up the floor. Cheers, JD. That from our buddy Fozzie in the 925. Yeah, I think they're going to go Looney, Kuminga, Wiggins. If he's healthy, he's not going to be. And see, I think that changes things too. Like if Wiggins can't play here for a period of time, where do you go if you're the Warriors? And do you play Kuminga at the 3 with Draymond and a center? I don't think you do. I think you almost have to go small and play Pajemski, and you might have to put Buddy Hield in there. Maybe you throw Moses Moody in there at the 3. I think there are some options to be had, but you got to have Moses Moody healthy to do that. So, yeah, Steph with another shooter, Wiggs, and a big man. I think it's going to be Pajemski for the time being at the 2. And, look, Steve Kerr said that. We'll play that clip for you. We're going to postpone sounds of Dubs OT here for another segment and get to a couple of these text messages. But, yeah, I think in a perfect world, that's what it would be. 510 weighing in on the trade front. Do you think Zion will become available if New Orleans breaks it up? I think it's possible, although I think they're more inclined to be looking to move Ingram at this point. But if you're the Warriors, do you even want Brandon Ingram? Like, do you think Brandon Ingram's an upgrade over Andrew Wiggins? I'm not sure Brandon Ingram is an upgrade over Andrew Wiggins at this point. Now, in a perfect world, you'd want to have both, but I'm looking up Brandon Ingram right now, and the Pelicans are trying to get Ingram an extension and or trade, but I'm looking at Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram's making $36 million this year. $36 million for Brandon Ingram. So, I mean, are you trading Wiggins and Moody? Are you trading Wiggins and Kuminga for Brandon Ingram? Like, hell no. I'm not doing that. And again, I know the question was more about Zion Williamson. If you're going to make a move to get Zion Williamson, you better be sure that Zion Williamson's going to be in shape and he's going to be healthy, because a lot of the questions about Zion Williamson, I think, relate to immaturity in terms of taking care of his body. And so that's something that I think has to be factored in as well. Oh, by the way, what is Zion Williamson's cap number? $36.7 million. And it's going up, 39.4. Next year, Zion Williamson has 3 more years on his deal after this year. 36-7 this year, 39-4 next year, 42-1 in 26-27, and 44-8 in 27-28. Now, as the cap continues to go up and TV deals change and all those things, Zion Williamson, if you can keep him healthy and on the court, that could potentially be a bargain in today's NBA, but not the Zion Williamson that we've seen to this point in terms of the ability to be healthy. And he just has not been able to be healthy, and he has not been able to keep himself in shape. And so, I think there would be some interest there. But, again, are you looking to give up multiple young players to bring Zion Williamson back and probably an Andrew Wiggins? I'm not sure how that completely shakes out, but I think it's a fair name to be able to bring up. 415, JD and your crew, to your live studio audience, cheers. Happiest of holidays to everyone. Stunner and Fillmore. Appreciate you, Stunner. And the 408, JD, are you to the point where we can say there's a chance the Warriors could completely miss out on the play-in with how inconsistent they are at this point? 100%. 100%. Just look at the math in terms of the standings. And it's very easy. I mean, the Warriors now 13-9. They're only a game and a half out of second in the West. So really, I mean, they could, if they could win 3-4 in a row, they're right back probably in the 2-3 spot. But Dallas has gotten hot, 15-8. Memphis is playing better, 15-8. The Rockets are 15-8, even dropping the games to the Kings and the Warriors, the last two. Warriors are going to see them again. OKC, I think everybody agrees, is the cream of the crop in the Western Conference. They're 17-5 at this point. But you look at the Warriors still close to 2, game and a half out, 1 in the loss column. But the Warriors are also 2.5 games from being out completely. There's a 2.5 game difference between where the Warriors are at 13-9 and the first team out. And the first team out right now is San Antonio at 11-12. Sacramento's 11-13. They are out right now. They are 12th in the West. And that's after adding DeRozan. They're 12th in the West. And the Kings beat the Spurs tonight. And those are the first two teams out of the play-in. Not the top 6. Clippers are right now even with the Warriors at 14-10. Again, the Grizzlies, Mavs, Rockets, and Thunder ahead of the Warriors. The Suns are right there with Denver and Minnesota. Phoenix, Denver, and Minnesota are 7, 8, 9. Those teams all believe they're top 6. So they're coming for somebody's spot. And then as things start to dip from there, you might find yourself in that play-in bracket if you're the Warriors, potentially with, I don't know, a Lakers, a Clippers, and a Memphis or something to that tune. Either way, it's not where you want to be. And the direct answer to the question from the Golden State Lumber and Building Materials text line is yes, the Warriors are in danger for sure of completely missing the playoffs or even the play-in and having an opportunity. What about Jimmy Butler, JD, from the 314? Excuse me. Jimmy Butler is somebody that I do think the Warriors would have interest in. The issue with Jimmy Butler, again, it's all about contracts. Jimmy Butler is under contract for $48.7 million. You gotta send $40+ million out in a Jimmy Butler trade. Now you could come up with Wiggins is part of that. But again, he would almost have to be, and I think the Warriors would want to get creative and not give up Wiggins with as well as Wiggins has played at the beginning of this year. I think they wouldn't want to give up Wiggins in an attempt to make that happen. But then you have to send a lot of players out and a lot of players probably in different directions, specifically because one team isn't going to want to take everybody that you've got. And look, you also start to look at this Warriors roster in terms of the keepers. And you can't keep everybody if you want to make a move. Even if trades are hard, you can't do it. But you start to look at, would the Warriors want to trade Kevon Looney? They probably would have to. Would they want to trade Gary Payton II? They probably would have to. That gets you, to about 17, 18 million right there. Kuminga would have to go in a Jimmy Butler deal. That gets you to about 25 million at that particular point in time. And then who else is going? Because you still got to come up with some salary, and would TJD have to go? He's not making a lot. Would you have to give up a Kyle Anderson? Would you have to give up a Buddy Hield? To make the salaries match, it's not easy. I mean, you're talking about giving up 5, 6, 7 players unless you're doing the straight up Andrew Wiggins for Jimmy Butler as the headliner. And again, are the Warriors truly better without Andrew Wiggins and Jonathan Kuminga, but they have Jimmy Butler? In the playoffs, maybe, but are you going to have enough when Jimmy Butler can be a PTO guy and come up with weird injuries and get a little banged up? Does that put you at a point where the ends justify the means as far as trying to make that type of a move? But that being said, I would be interested in Jimmy Butler. I would not, though, I wouldn't want to give up Wiggins to get Jimmy Butler now, given the way Wiggins has played. I would want to have Steph and Wiggins and Jimmy Butler and have Wiggins basically be your third option. You've still got Draymond, and then you figure out who else would have to go in the deal. But if Looney's not going in the deal, you're talking about having to give up Kuminga, Looney, GP2, and maybe a Kyle Anderson or a Buddy Hield and others. And again, a lot of those guys are salary fillers. And if they're salary fillers, you've still got more talent and young talent potentially that Miami would want to take on. Would they want a Pajemski? And you'd have to include him and his really good contract. That all becomes a big part of the conversation. 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. Still time to sneak in a couple of calls here on Dubs OT with JD. Warriors lose to the Timberwolves 107-90. Let's go and take another quick timeout. We'll come back. We'll get more in the YouTube chat. A lot of great comments to get to, and we'll also get the sounds of Dubs OT on the other side. Fun with numbers. The party is still going here at Harmonic Brewing, even though folks are disappointed. Warriors have lost 6 of 7. It's Dubs OT with JD here on the Sports Leader.
Did you hear something?
Yeah, like a swoosh.
Yeah.
Dubs OT presents the sounds of silver. Streaming live on YouTube at KNBR 1045.
All right, back here on Dubs OT. Warriors lose to the Timberwolves, 107-90 the final at Chase Center behind me. It is Dubs OT with JD. We got Kyle Haar in our San Francisco studios, as well as Jacob Violante. Both of those guys putting together our sounds of Dubs OT tonight. More from the YouTube chat coming up. We'll also get some text messages, and we can sneak in some calls. We're going to go into the 11 o'clock hour here as the party is still going at Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City. Cheers to everybody who has stopped by and said hi tonight. It was kind of a wild crew early on. Our buddy Devontae is maybe our Dubs OT listener and viewer of the year. He's in the early running here, no doubt, tonight from Harmonic Brewing. But let's hear some of the best clips from the post-game press conferences in that building that sits behind me here as I sit at Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City. And we'll start with Steve Kerr addressing the Warriors' offense and just the disorganized, cluttered nature of it. Also, Steve acknowledged the thought process behind why he had Draymond Green come off the bench.
We're trying, we're mixing and matching. Obviously, I started differently. The reason for starting differently was to try to help the second unit get organized with Draymond, but we need some more practice time. We've got to get our act together. We were much better offensively the first couple of weeks of the season. And last couple of weeks we've been struggling, which is why, I've been searching lineup-wise. Tonight, the game got away from us a little bit. Moses got hurt early. Wiggs gets hurt, I think, early second half. So that changed all the rotation patterns, but doesn't matter. We've got to have guys who are coming in and, ready to execute and get to their spots. And we go through our stuff, and we're going to have to go over it more, obviously.
Yeah, they are definitely going to have to go over it again. Interesting to hear Steve say that Draymond coming off the bench was an attempt to get the bench going. I would have thought it would have been more about trying to keep Jonathan Kuminga's rhythm going, although Steve did address that in the next clip that we're going to play here on Sounds of Dubs OT. He was asked about the possibility of Draymond coming off the bench. Could it be a regular thing? And here's what the head coach had to say.
I want to look at it. I mean, we're trying to maximize Jonathan. Playing him with Wiggs, playing Loon to start with that group, means that Draymond doesn't have to guard the opposing center right from the get-go, which I think is important. Then we can, close with Draymond at the 5. So in theory, I like what it looks like, but we have to play better and we have to make better decisions.
Yeah, that's all part of it. And again, the one thing that I don't love hearing ever is Steve Kerr searching. And it goes hand in hand with the losing streak. It really does. In the 6 of 7, nobody was talking about searching when they were 12-3. He was playing a bunch of guys and everybody was happy and the pieces fit together and they were having success. And with losing comes searching. And Kuminga starts at the 3, then he comes off the bench, and now he's playing exclusively the 4, and he's starting at the 4, and Looney's been good, so you want to play him. And Draymond, you don't want to play the 5, but Kuminga is playing well at the 4, so then he comes off the bench, and now you're trying to figure it out. You only have 2 ball handlers that are guards on the entire team in Curry and Podziemski, so that means Podziemski basically gets some scholarship minutes in a sense, not truthfully, but I think Brandon Podziemski, if the Warriors had more ball handlers, Podziemski would be playing less. But the Warriors don't, so he is the de facto backup point guard. So he's going to play when Steph Curry's not on the court. We'll hear more from Steve Kerr on that here coming up in just a moment. But it creates all these scenarios where there's certain things you want, and because you want certain things in your lineup, then other things have to change. And it's like whack-a-mole, right? It's like, oh, I like this, but then there's a problem over here. Fix a problem over here. You got to fix a new problem over here. and it just becomes almost insurmountable. And so anytime I hear Steve Kerr, Kyle, we might need an alarm. We might need like an alarm sounder for when Steve Kerr says searching or tinkering or trying to find the right, like that is the most accurate indicator of the Warriors are a mess and in big trouble as anything in the Steve Kerr era. And it looked like they were going to avoid it because they weren't searching the first 15 to 20 games, and now they're searching. And searching is the worst of the worst from 22-23 season, 23-24 season. It's how you end up 2 over, 2 under, 3 under, 1 over, 2 on. It's how you end up battling for the 10 seed come March and April and having to fight your ass off to get it. And that's just not a winning situation, Kyle, for anybody. Don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear searching. It's bad. Very bad. All right. I digress. Let's continue here. We heard from Steve Kerr about Draymond coming off the bench as it relates to Kuminga. Let's now hear from Draymond Green on his thought process regarding the move to the bench and whether or not he's good with it.
Coach just called and asked me. He said it's something he was thinking about, and he wanted to know if I was okay with it. And of course I'm okay with it. I have been one of JK's biggest fans since he's been here. And so if he has an opportunity to start, you can't be hypocritical. And they're like, yo, we want him to start, but it'll be for you. And you can't be like, it's not for me. Like, that don't work. Like, I'm a fan of his. I want to see him do well. So if his opportunity goes through me, then it is what it is. That's his opportunity, and he earned the opportunity. So that was kind of my rationale. He played extremely well last night. You want to give that another look, or 2 or 3 or 4 or however long. If it works, then you continue with it. I am a product of my vet being willing to take a back seat for me. You got to give back what came to you. That's what this is about.
All right. Draymond Green with high praise there for Jonathan Kuminga, and probably too high a praise, to be perfectly honest. Again, I think if there's one thing that's been an issue for the war, there's this constant gassing up of the young players while also having them not. Like, Kuminga could wind up being a star. He played excellent basketball last night, but this thought that Draymond is going to be coming off the bench. Look, I agree. Kuminga's earned the right to start. Not disputing that at all. I think Draymond is trying to be a good vet and a good leader and respect the fact that that he knows Kuminga believes he will be a star in the future in his career. Maybe it's not even that far off in terms of the timeline as to when he is. But the truth is, the issue is the fact that Kuminga just can't be effective as a 3. Like, in a perfect world, you'd have Kuminga and Draymond out there. And it gets back to the whack-a-mole conversation. But again, I will give Draymond credit for being secure enough in his own state of his career to acknowledge the fact that Kuminga lately, or even just based on the game he had last night, has earned the right to start. Like, that's commendable, respectable, and all of that. But the truth is, for the Warriors to be the best version of themselves, they have to figure out ways that Kuminga and Draymond can play together with Wiggins and Steph. And the truth is, there's one way that you can do it. There's one way you can play Steph and Wiggins and Kuminga and Draymond and get away with Kuminga playing the 3. It's if you make a freaking trade for a center that can shoot the 3 ball. If the Warriors had Naz Reid, Kuminga could play with Draymond and Wiggins. If the Warriors had Bobby Portis or Lauri Markkanen, obviously that's not happening, they could play Draymond and Kuminga and Wiggins together with Steph Curry, and you'd have 2 shooters on the floor, but it's inverted with the center being the other guy that can shoot. So as commendable as it is for Draymond to acknowledge the potential of Jonathan Kuminga's future, I don't love the idea of Draymond Green coming off the bench. I understand it, but it's very last year. It's very 2 years ago. It's very the pieces don't fit, and the Warriors are playing a game of whack-a-mole, and we'll figure it out. The one guy who's not going anywhere in the starting lineup, it sounds like, is Brandon Podziemski, and I actually agree with this one. But Steve Kerr laid it out pregame and pissed a lot of Warrior fans off. A lot of Warrior fans on social media not happy. And here's what Kerr had to say as far as Podziemski, and he just going to play, says the head coach.
Brandon's minutes. Well, he'll play the non-Steph minutes for sure. He's our backup point guard. And we like him with Steph because he's really good connecting the game for Steph. So he's going to play a lot of minutes. He's a crucial player for us and a damn good one. I thought he was one of the keys to the game last night. And I don't care whether his shot goes in. Obviously, I'd prefer it goes in, but I don't care if it does in terms of how much I'm going to play him because of everything else he does. He's going to play a lot regardless.
He's going to play a lot regardless. Doesn't care if the shots are going in. You might want to care a little bit if the shots are going in. You might want to care a little bit if the shots are going in. But look, he is really one of two guard ball handlers on the team. So I get it. And to be honest, he's the best option the Warriors have at the 2 right now in terms of starters because Buddy Hield's been so bad, and I think Lindy Waters has been bad for the most part as he started to get more regular run. He's been bad. And they don't consider Moses Moody a 2. Now he's hurt. So what are you going to do? It almost has to be Podziemski at the 2. And then also the backup 1. So you stagger their minutes, and that's led to Steph Curry playing the old John Stockton. For those old enough to remember John Stockton would always play the first 6 minutes of each half and then sub out and come back at the beginning of the second quarter. And basically in playoff games, he just played the whole second and fourth quarters. And that was kind of a means to make sure you got a rest. You could play him a lot in the second and fourth quarters, but he would get that rest early. And so, Jerry Sloan, the legendary Hall of Fame head coach of the Jazz, would do that with John Stockton. It's weird to see Steph Curry in that spot where he's playing 6 minutes, especially because Curry loves playing the first quarter in full, and that's been something that the Warriors really have gone away from for the last couple of years, but was a staple of the Warriors in the dominant era. Was Steph going to play the whole first, he's going to play the whole third, and sub out beginning of the second, beginning of the fourth, and then come back in when you need him. Sometimes he wouldn't even come back in. But as it relates to Podziemski, I know a lot of Warrior fans are going to be pissed off. A lot of Warrior fans think Podziemski ain't it, but he's going to be out there in a big-time way, and he's just going to have to play better and shoot better and do a lot of the things he did last night in addition to that to help this Warriors team win. All right, 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. Let's continue here on Dubs OT with JD here on a Friday night from Harmonic Brewing. From Draymond to Kerr, back to Draymond. Draymond Green addressing more about Jonathan Kuminga and everything that he could be moving forward.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm sure I'll close most halves, but not starting is not starting. You're taking on a different role. And so, I don't necessarily look at it as like this demotion. I'm a starter in the NBA. I know that, so I don't look at it like that. But if it's something to try to help this team win, I'm always going to be for it. I hate losing. So if you got something that's going to help us win, you're not going to get an argument from me. As I've always said, I care about this organization. And I know a lot of people in this organization, including myself, think he's next. And so if he's next, at some point we got to see it. And for him to do that, he needs the opportunity. If the opportunity falls on you, being me, then that's what it is. And you got to figure it out. He's earned the right to get that opportunity. And when I come back here in 10 years and I'm even more great than I am now, I want to see this franchise thrive in. So if he's the guy that's going to do that, which I think he's more than capable of, great. It's perfect.
Well, again, that's admirable, commendable, awesome, cool, but I don't think we necessarily know that that's the case. And look, I think it's great that Draymond Green says that. I think he believes it because I don't think Draymond says things that he doesn't believe. He's not in that business. And for the time being, if that means he has to take a step back, so be it. But I still think that in the short term is not what helps this Warriors team this season the most. In the short term, what helps this Warriors team this season the most is the ability to play those two together. It's the ability for Kuminga to have to play the 4 because he can't play the 3. And the only way he can play the 3 is if you come up with somebody that's a big that can shoot. Because the Looney, Draymond, Kuminga, Wiggins lineup ain't working. And it didn't work the first handful of games, and Steve Kerr went away from it. He gave it a chance. But again, commendable, admirable, respectable. I mean, all those things from Draymond Green. He continues to show just a new level of, there's the crazy Draymond and the things that have gotten off the rails over the years. And, anytime you see Rudy Gobert at Chase Center like tonight, you're reminded of some of the things that have happened, including last year. But Draymond at his core, I think it truly is peak Draymond when you look at what he had to say there about being one of Kuminga's biggest fans. And if the opportunity goes through him, it's his opportunity and he'll stand down, knowing that obviously he's going to be out there at the end of halves and at the end of games because those two are going to play together then at that point, and it would be what's best for the Warriors at that particular point in time. All right, one more here. Sounds of Dubs OT with JD here on a Friday night as I switch my screens here. Let's hear from Kevon Looney, who is one of the leaders of this team. And when things are not going well, you do want to hear from Kevon Looney. He's been around, championship player. Kevon Looney addressed what he sees with the Warriors offense, which Steve Kerr said is not where it needs to be and hasn't been there since the early part of the season. Here's Kevon Looney's take on that.
I think he's playing with more pace. Overall, he's playing with more pace, cutting harder, was a little bit more organized. It was getting more stops. We were able to get stops and get out and run and transition. Our offense kind of flows better. The ball kind of moves a little bit more, and when we see the ball go in, everybody plays with a little bit more confidence. So I think offense affected our defense tonight, but it kind of goes both ways. To be able to get stops and run, we're much harder to stop.
Yeah, tonight, it's tough taking the ball out of the net and being able to be effective at that point, but they were playing at a faster pace, more crisp. I do think they were getting more stops, but there was just a better flow. And I think the pace is the key thing. I think the Warriors' pace has slowed a little bit. And part of that is the defense, which I think has picked back up after a little dip for a handful of games. When you look at the lead up to losing the game in San Antonio, the Brooklyn game, I didn't think the defense was good. And then they've had guys kind of in and out of the lineup, which I think creates some confusion and some issues in terms of rhythm as far as that goes. But when you look at it, I think they have to get back to just better starts, more flow, crisp movement, and just trying to find a rhythm offensively to where everybody contributes. That's what was going on the first couple of weeks of the season. It felt like everybody was contributing in a big time positive way. So, all right, that is Sounds of Dubs OT for tonight. Let's go ahead and take another quick timeout. And when we come back, we'll get to Fun with Numbers. We'll get to some final comments from the YouTube chat as things start to wind down a little bit here at Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City. If you want to give me a call or shoot me a text, you can. We got some texts to get to. 808 KNBR 415-808-5627. It's Dubs OT with JD as the Timberwolves beat the Warriors 107-90. And it's the sports leader.
This is Dubs OT with JD. Time now for fun.
I'm a fun guy.
With numbers.
No, I'm just having fun.
On KNBR 104.5 and 680. Streaming live on KNBR.com and the KNBR app.
All right, welcome back. Dubs OT with JD. Final segment here from Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City. Fun with numbers. Before we get to fun with numbers, want to get to a few more here in the YouTube chat tonight as the Warriors lose to the Timberwolves 107-90. That is 6 of the last 7 in the loss column for Golden State. Joe Schmo, Hield is Hield. Plus, the Warriors got those wins early in the season when teams were still getting it together. This could be what the season is like. I think that's a fair point. And a big part of what the Warriors were trying to do was get a head start by being more connected through training camp. And they did it, but they've quickly wasted it. And I think that's the big problem, as we were talking about earlier. The 12-3 has turned into 13-9, and that is not good because 13-9 is very last year. And they were actually worse than that at this point last year. They were worse than that at this point 2 years ago, but it's still very last 2 years, which is not where the Warriors want to be. They want to be somewhere in between the last 2 years and the championship year where they won 53 games and started 18-2 and all of that. And unfortunately, it's starting more and more to look like last year. Sear, you all think Pods is in a slump? Nah, this is who he is. Watch the college tape. We shall see. I think Pods is going to be able to get it together, but people are really frustrated. Clickbait, Pods shouldn't be shooting threes, work on his mid-range shot. I think he passed up some threes last night and tonight, which is a good thing. I do think he needs to look to keep the ball moving a little bit more, but that can be problematic too as the defense starts to sense that he's doing that and they really dare him to shoot. But I like the game that Pods had last night in terms of hustle, rebounding, keeping the ball moving, not looking to be a shooter. I think that's the mindset that it has to be for Brandon Podziemski here moving forward. No Cap 757 should have never dumped Jordan Poole. Wow, we're going all the way back to that. Said it will haunt them. Hey, thank you. Said it will haunt them, and I don't think it's haunting them. But I mean, could they use another scorer? Yes, but I don't think they're haunted by Jordan Poole. They felt the need to get off that contract. And look, you can blame Draymond for screwing it all up and punching him and making it awkward for him to be a member of the Warriors and work through that year to be back for another one or another couple. That's 100% fair, but the reality is what happened, and I think the Warriors were better off for moving on in that situation. And Jordan helped them win a title, helped them get off to that 18-2 start, helped them get off to a 41-13 start. Klay Thompson came back. He helped them in the playoffs. It's no disrespect to Jordan Poole. It got weird. It got bad, but I don't think the Warriors would be in a better position if Jordan Poole and a fat Jordan Poole contract were still on the books for the Warriors at this particular point in time. And, Poole here with Pods and those guys playing together. Like, I don't know if the Warriors are, end up with Podziemski if they have Jordan Poole, because he would have been the lead backup guard and have the potential to be someone who's starting as well at that spot. So a couple of more here in the chat, and there was an extensive conversation. CA, should we just hold off until the offseason, get a legit player as opposed to an in-season acquisition? In-season acquisitions tend to not work out immediately. In-season acquisitions tend to need time often to fit. And I would worry about, as much as the Warriors are based on basketball IQ and can you play with Steph Curry and can you play with Draymond Green, like that's something they're going to have to factor in, whether they can do something in season and have it work to be able to make this team better. I think that was going to be really difficult for the Warriors to do if they continue to have success. I think they need to be more open to making some moves and trying to improve this roster on the fly. You've got three options in terms of how to get better. You can make trades at the deadline. You can make trades at the offseason. You can draft players and develop players in the summer there. I don't think the Warriors should be looking at being desperate, but I think they need to look at having some urgency that hasn't I think the urgency has been there, even though they've remained patient, but they got to be more willing to look to make some big time moves. So good stuff tonight. Philip Reitz, No Cap, Clickbait, Robert, Andis, Ebe here, Joe Schmo, Otisburg III, Hype Flicks. Appreciate that. Appreciate you. Sear. We don't have to agree. Frank Weber. We don't have to agree. Philip Reitz. Don't have to agree to be a part of the Dubs OT family and weigh in on everything that's going on here. No, Otis, I don't think anybody was trying to mess up the live show. People see the camera sometimes and they want to come over and say hi, and that's fine. We welcome it. Just don't linger. Our guy Devontae lingered a little bit. Clickbait, I will be like that when I go. Yeah, it's okay. Come on, say I will welcome you over to the camera. And I will welcome you over, and it's all good. Apollo Crews, Warriors looking washed. Yeah, not good. It really is not good. CA, I think the Draymond thing was just a way to have him ease into playing again. That's how I looked at it. I looked at it as it's easier to manage his minutes. Apollo Crews, Kuminga is not him. CA, that happened last year. Yeah, Draymond did do that last year. And I agree. Andis Brown, only a couple of games. But, yeah, with Wiggins injured now, there is going to be a lot more tinkering, which is not good. Not good. Not what you want. So, yeah, thank you to everybody. Tony Smith bringing up the point that Steph's been struggling. He's not a number 2, but he has been struggling. And I do think the Warriors' patience for finding him a number 2 is got to be there. All right, final segment here. Our Dubs OT with JD, fun with numbers segment. And, again, it's never really fun when the Warriors lose. And it is the 6th time in the last 7 games. They're 13-4, 6-4 now at home. And this 17-point loss was the largest defeat in terms of margin at home for the Warriors this season. Game was close at times, but never really felt like the Warriors were totally in it, really, even though they got it down to 3 a couple of different times. The 90 points, that is the fewest the Warriors have scored at home since March of 2022, almost 3 years. So the Timberwolves really did a number on the Warriors defensively. Warriors are 1-2 in the second game of back-to-backs. That's been a problematic thing for them. We talked about their quality record in the first game of back-to-backs last night, and the Timberwolves have won 6 of the last 7 meetings against the Warriors, 5 in a row. And they've won 4 matchups consecutively at Chase Center. The Warriors have been able to pick off a game here or there at Target Center against the Timberwolves, but the Timberwolves have been really good at Chase Center, again, to the tune of 4 straight. Second straight game, Warriors don't score 100. The offense is struggling. They won with 99 last night, and tonight was the season low 90, and that is something that hasn't happened in nearly 2 years on the calendar, consecutive games under 100 points. Warriors did shoot the free throws well tonight. As you look up, not a huge number, but the Warriors were 15 of 17 from the free throw line. So they made their free throws tonight, but only 11 3-point makes to the Timberwolves 14, and the Warriors shot 39% to the Timberwolves 45.5%. That more than enough to allow for Minnesota to have a comfortable victory. And the turnovers, we talked about it off the top, spent a good chunk of the first segment of the show talking about the turnovers. The Warriors forced into 21 turnovers. Their season high in terms of turnovers was 22. That was in the home opener loss to the Clippers back on October the 27th. Steph Curry returned, team high 23 points, but Steph really had to work for it. 3 of 9 from 3, was 8 for 8 at the line, but 6 of 17 overall shooting. Steph Curry, it was hey, when Steph's out there, the Warriors played well game. When he wasn't, they didn't game until that final stretch where the Timberwolves took the thing over with Anthony Edwards mid-fourth quarter. Draymond back after missing the last 2, came off the bench for the first time since he did it in January last year against Memphis and Sacramento and Atlanta. The other games last year, he finished with 10 points, 8 of those 10 in the first quarter. Really, the first 6 minutes he was on the court. 9 boards, 6 assists, 2 steals in 27 minutes for Draymond coming off the bench. And Andrew Wiggins will await some of the news on him. Left with the right ankle impingement. 10:07 in the third quarter, didn't come back. And Moses Moody played in the first quarter, left with knee soreness in the left knee, and he did not return either. So that'll do it for us tonight here from Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City. Thank you to everyone in the YouTube chat, and we shouted out a lot of great folks. Thanks to those who called. Thanks to those who texted in as well on the Golden State Lumber and Building Materials text line. And a big thanks back in our San Francisco studios to Kyle Haar, to Jacob Violante, and I see Ryan McCarthy there just kind of hanging out. So I'm going to Ryan may not have done a lot tonight, but he's done a lot on a lot of other nights. So if you're in my view, you're getting a shout out and you're getting a thank you. So thank you to Ryan McCarthy, in addition to Kyle and Jacob. We will have a Dubs OT for you stream only on Sunday. The next Warrior game is Sunday. It's a 5:30 tip against the Timberwolves. I'm going to be out at Levi's for the 49ers and the Bears and on the pre-half and post for that. But we also are going to go live here on the KNBR YouTube page and on Twitch right around 8 o'clock. The post game will be done for the 49ers, and we'll lock in on the Warriors. And Greg Silver's going to join me for that one, YouTube only, following the Warriors and the Timberwolves part 2. And then we'll be back on the radio for the big Emirates Cup game as the Warriors take on the Rockets Wednesday from Houston, 6:30 tip. So we'll be on around 9 there. And if the Rockets are able to win, or if the Warriors are able to win that one against the Rockets for a 16th consecutive time, they will be on to Vegas, and Dubs OT will come to you from Vegas for the Emirates Cup semifinals, which would be a week from tomorrow. So join me tomorrow as well for Just Dubs on KNBR and on the stream, 11 until noon here on the Sports Leader. And we'll talk to you on YouTube on Sunday night as the Warriors lose this one 107-90. It's KNBR 104.5 and 680, the Sports Leader.
We have the full hockey substitution at the next stoppage. A wise idea. This one is over. Gobert is having fun.
John Dickinson.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No!
Big audio quality show.
You are a sicko, and I appreciate you for it because I'm a sicko.
I just know they kicked our ass tonight.